What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over UFC. I don't even want to pronounce where this is being taken place, but it's being taken place well overseas, to the tune of a noon start time, Eastern time, which is obviously extremely good for me. I actually have a chance to watch some of this before it gets too late and I have to go out and things like that. Everybody make a note that it is a noon start time, which probably means that the lineup construction video is going to be probably first thing Saturday morning, if not Friday night. We should have all the sims in by then. We'll be able to do the lineup construction video. It's an interesting card in that I think that the two main events, well, the main event and the co-main event, while very compelling matchups, are not necessarily, locks in DFS, which is usually makes for a very, very good DFS slate. We do have quite a few fights, and I don't see anybody that's going to be extraordinarily popular. Like there's no like complete lock as far as I'm concerned that people have to get in their lineups, which means that if you get this right, you could probably build, reasonable lineups that do have a chance to take down the whole cheese, which is always kind of exciting. The more you have to get fancy with your builds to try to win that lottery tournament, it does kind of grind on your brain to have to do that. So I'm not saying that you can just play the optimal lineups, but when we do the lineup construction video towards the end of the week, you'll see that we don't have to do all kinds of crazy stuff that we might have to do on other cards. So we're going to go from, I guess, the bottom of the card up. And I do think there are some fights which are obviously better than others. That's just the way it goes. But there are some fights that are just complete bums. And this one here, like Muhammad Usman versus Handy Abdelwabi. This is seems to be a fight where fantasy points will go to die. You look at the inside the distance line. Both inside the distance lines are terrible. The only thing you could say, I guess, uh, is that Abdelwabi does have some takedown upside, as was shown a few fights ago against Dontel Mays. He did get three takedowns en route to a 100-point score. So what I will say is that if you were going to take anybody in this fight, it would probably be Hamdi just because he has the takedown upside. I think that in 20 max and below, this is not a fight you really want to target. But again, when you get up to 150, then you are going to have to play stuff like this. So uh, I think Hamdi is solid enough, I guess, in 150 and up. But I think Usman's just kind of a really terrible play and probably a fade. Okay, Tagir Ulambekov versus Maxim. All right. So Tagir has most things going for him here. First of all, he does have really, really big win odds, which is obviously very nice. He also does have a great bit of grappling upside. He goes for a lot of takedowns and he's very good at it. And that, as everybody knows, is very, very strong for DFS scoring and very strong for DFS in general. His inside the distance line is not great, but that's not unexpected of these pure grapplers because the pure grapplers don't usually get these early finishes. They can sometimes, but usually, they rack up their points just on getting these decisions. So it is a little fishy, you know what I mean, to play Ulan because yeah, he's probably gonna get his takedowns and score, but how many really is he gonna score? At his price, which is what, 9,200, something like that. 9,300. You need a number, you know, like this one. Listen, get a second round sub. That's good, right? But even this one, first round sub, only 100. maybe 100 isn't going to be good enough. So uh it's not a favorite that you're just going to have to make all kinds of concessions to play. Look at Nascimento. This one, he had four takedowns. Sylvia had five takedowns, but none of them really led to big scores. So it's one of those fighters where I think if you played, 20 max and below or low risk or something, I think it's something you can play. But I don't think he's necessarily has such an incredible ceiling that you have to, get completely overweight to him. And Maxim, I mean, he's 6,900. He just doesn't win often enough to really justify prioritizing him in any way. If I thought Ulan was going to be like huge chalk, I would say, okay, let's try to play some Maxim as leverage. But aside from that, I just don't need to play these 6,900 punts without a really good reason. So Ulan perfectly good, perfectly good. So you do have two grapplers right out of the gate in fights which might not be, you know, elite, but I think that if these first two fights, if anything, you're going to play the favorites, Ulanbekov or Himdi. All right, Irina Aliskeva versus Svagula. I mean, women's fight with probably a pretty poor inside the distance line, some degree of takedown upside in Aliskeva, I guess. I mean, Alex saving inside the distance. I mean, for a women's fight, this really isn't bad, I guess, plus 200, but you can't just compare it to women's fights. You got to compare it to everybody else. So plus 200 inside and an inside the distance line of, excuse me, and a price of 8,900. I mean, that's not great. And I'm not convinced that, she's going to get a whole bunch of takedowns here. I mean, I will say this against Mullins. I mean, she was really getting after it for a while, and then she just kind of ran out of gas, I guess. But I don't know. The whole thing just seems really fishy. Um, I guess you sort of have to play her because if she does go for these takedowns, Svagula probably doesn't have a great takedown defense. So I think that she's fine. But again, as far as prioritizing. I wouldn't do too much of this. Now, what I will say Svagula makes for I think, a very poor DFS play because if in fact she is going to win, it's going to just be because she kept it on the feed and probably won a striking based decision, which is always not good. Okay, for DFS. So again, this is a third one where the favorite is fine, I suppose, and the underdog is just kind of bad. I guess we should at this point, I mean, consider who of these three favorites are the best so far. In DFS. Now you could play all three, right? But let's just say between Ulanbekov, Aliskeva, or Hamdi. Well, Hamdi's inside the distance line is just so poor that I think you have to make it third. Even Aliskeva has an inside the distance line of like plus 200, as opposed to well, what was William even William Beckhoff here? Hold on, let's see. Well, Handy's inside the distance line was terrible, right? We established that. Uh, and plus 400. What about William Beckhoff here? His was what was it? Was it plus 250? Um, like plus 300. So here's the thing. So Alia Skilov definitely has a better inside the distance prop than William Beckhoff, except William Beckhoff is just so much of a better, so much more reliable to go for the takedowns, you know, than Aliskeva. So I guess I would consider, but at the price, I don't know. I would say they're both the same, really. Uh, that might end up being sort of a hot take, right? I imagine that William Beckhoff is going to be pretty popular. I mean, he's probably going to win, but what is he really going to score? As a matter of fact, I think that Eskeva could score just as well if things go her way as Tagira if things go his. All right, another one. Melissa Mullins versus Daria. I say another one, another women's fight with probably a pretty poor inside the distance line here. And the Melissa Mullins side is going to get some love, I think, because she had a recent finish. I mean, look at Mullins inside the distance, like minus 125. That's sort of crazy, isn't it? I never see this from a women's fighter. So I guess you sort of have to respect it. Oh my God, it feels so brutal. I mean, who died and gave her these inside the distance lines? She's got she's got two fights here in the DraftKings card. One was against the aforementioned Smagula, where I mean she only had 30, she had two takedowns, and then I guess she got the ground and pound at the end, but I don't know about this. She got knocked out by Cornole, and she's 9K against him. I don't know. This seems terrible. I mean, doesn't it? If Melissa Mullins ends up like being played here for real, a couple of KOs, but then you have two decisions. I guess this Daria fight when they fought before. I mean, did she lose to Cornole as like a 400 minus 400 favorite? She I don't know. This whole play just stinks as far as I'm concerned. I probably just be inclined to fade this, but I don't know. According to the metrics, you sort of have to respect it. So we'll see. We'll see how I come up with that. I'm just hoping to play better opportunities. All right, let's see. And Daria, she just doesn't score ever. So I gotta find an underdog to play one of these days. Maybe this one. So Young Park versus Ishmael Nordiev, 8,700, 7,500. Um, at 8,700, can we get a minus 130 inside? Plus 130? Probably not, right? Yeah. So inside the distance is kind of poor. He does have some takedowns, but he doesn't go for them all the time. Like sometimes he'll try to keep the fight on the feet, and sometimes he will try to go for these takedowns. Just depends. I mean, what's it? Joseph Holmes, whatever, he was had awful takedown defense. I'm just a bad grappler in general. So I mean, when he could do it, he could. Now this Muniz fight was a little fishy. Like Muniz is a pretty good grappler. Things go his way. So this was kind of an interesting fight. Tavares, you can get two takedowns here. So I guess at 8,700, you sort of have to respect this. As if he in fact does go for takedowns, he could probably get, pretty decent score. Let's see Nordiev here. Um, every fight goes to a decision. I think that's, and he's got three takedowns of his own. This again, this is another fight that just feels like it's going to be low scoring. And maybe I'm just biased because this last weekend was such a freaking horror show with respect to scoring. So now I'm looking for those variations where it's boring. But I don't know what's a better play, Park or what's his name, or Alyaskiva, for example. Um, I don't know. I think they're very similar. And so again, so Nordiev, unfortunately, as far as underdogs go, I just can't, why can't I not find anybody? I guess he's fine, but hopefully something comes up soon. All right, so now we have Oban Elliott, highest priced fighter on the card and the best, you know, highest win odds on the card. Let's take a look at the inside the distance line. Sure, I bet you it's not even that great. I bet you it's barely minus 110, if at all. Oh my God, it's like plus 200 at his price. It's a fade. It's almost a full fade. And Sun Young Kyo just doesn't really win often enough. Oh, I already see where we're headed here. with these underdogs, I don't think you're gonna like it. All right, so moving up, we have Naimov versus Bogdan Grad, minus 270 versus plus 230. The price 8,800, 7,400. That's actually a pretty good value for Naimov at 8,800. You know, to be a full minus whatever this is, 270 at that price is pretty good. Um, Now let's take a look at the inside the distance line. I mean, if we could get a nine off minus 110, I mean, that's our first kind of elite play. Let's see. Nine off inside. No, just can't quite get it. I mean, where's the minus 110s inside? The only one that I've seen is Mullins. What a weird card. Nine off's not much for takedowns. How about Grad plus 320 inside the distance? The problem again is his win odds. He just doesn't win often enough. Plus 230. I don't know. All right, so now the next couple we're gonna have to play, and this is gonna be kind of annoying, I think. So Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota, minus 440 plus 340. The DraftKings prices are what do we got? 9,400 and 6,800. So at 9,400, you are gonna need, a pretty big number as far as your metrics go. Um, Sadikoff inside is, and there we go. So minus 160. This is like so far, right? So far, clearly the best inside the distance line, and you are going to have to pay for it. Okay. But I think this is pretty, again, if you can afford it somehow, I think that you have to respect that strong inside the distance line, plus the fact that he might be able to get takedowns. Um, Moda inside. Oh my God, he's plus 900. Oh, I don't know. I guess you can't play him. He's never going to win. So okay, so Sadikov, good favorite, another just poor underdog. So if we can't play underdogs, what are we going to do? Well, I have a plan for that. So now we have Orobai versus uh, Musayev, and the good thing is that this is a full striker versus grappler matchup. Um, well, at least on one side. So Musayev is I mean, I believe the better striker. I mean, like KO, whatever. Um, and Orobai, we've seen him, continue to try to go for takedowns and stuff like that. We'll take a look at his game logs here, and you'll see it pretty easily. I think one of them had like 7 takedowns. Yeah, 7 takedowns against Arismetic, 5 takedowns against Elvis Sprinter, 2 takedowns against Rubetsky in his last fight. Um, so this Musayev is going to be kind of intriguing. So he wins a good amount of his fights by a KO. And what we did see in his last fight was Earlby get really, really beat up by Mateusz Rebecki. His eye was like almost out of his socket, So uh, I think that it's possible that if Musayev does get to him, the ref might pull a quick whistle because they saw the damage that was done to him in his last fight. Um, so here I like Oral By because of the big takedown upside, but Musayev inside at plus 200. This is basically this is as an elite play as it gets. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about favorites that were like minus 900, excuse me, that were 9,200, 9,300, and inside the distance time at plus 200. Here you have an underdog who's like plus 200 to finish. I mean, to me, this is like clearly, I mean, clearly the best underdog play on the slate. And because of that, he's going to be popular, which means you probably should be playing Uruguay anyway. So this is probably the one fight that you have to have. I think this is likely to deliver for openers, and you could get leverage sort of on both sides if you think about it. All right, so now we have Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev. And the annoying thing here is that Curtis Blades is only a minus 250 favorite. So this Kuniev guy, I mean, he's got to have something, right? I mean, like he's fighting Curtis Blades for God's sake, and he's only a plus 218. I mean, these are the types of plays that you're really supposed to play. So you look at the inside the distance line, you have Blaze with a very, very strong minus one, plus 110, like about pick him inside the distance. Unfortunately, the Kuniev is like plus 600, so that's not great. But I don't know. I mean, I think that Blades' metrics are very strong. You factor in the wrestling upside with that. He's going to show up as a good play, which means he's probably going to be popular, which means that Kuniev probably decent leverage here. It's kind of crazy, right? But I think that's what this is coming down to. I mean, these last couple of fights here, the Oralby fight and the Blades fight, I think those are pretty important fights to capture quite a bit of exposure. And then you have the last two fights, which are two like really, really good fights that might have some pretty fishy DFS implications. Well, let's look at the first one. So Bahamondes versus Fizayev. So this is one of the crosses I have to bear. You have these 80, some of these 8,200 8K fights that I don't afford enough respect to because of their, lack of scoring. But the more times I've skipped these fights, the more I get punished for it. How many times in a row are you going to get these 8K fighters that just win and score 78? That's plenty. So let's get into it. First of all, both strikers, both extremely good strikers. I don't imagine either fighter will be getting a takedown in this fight. I mean, if anybody, maybe Hamondes, but I think this is going to be just a really entertaining striking battle. And what that means is that all you have to go on is the inside the distance lines to see if this is a good play or not. Either of them. So we'll look at this. We have, I mean, Bohemund is implied side plus 320. They're both the same. They're both like plus 320. I mean, it's just really bad. It's just really bad. You just can't, you just really shouldn't be playing it. Um, we're gonna do a hand build and see what we need to do here, but I think that I know what it is. Um, so what about the main? What about Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree? All right, so first of all, what that is going for is you do have 5 rounds to rack up points if in fact there's no finish. Um, which certainly makes it a better fight than Fiziev Bahamondes. All right. Um, it's just more points available. Because I do think both these fights could rate to be sort of low volume, or I wouldn't say low volume in a negative way. I just think all there you have 4 good strikers, and especially this Fiziev thing. I mean, I don't know if they're just going to slam and kill each other. I mean, I don't know. I think Bahamondes will be, I don't know, try to keep it range or whatever. And this Roundtree fight, I mean, this one you're going to see is going to have a much better inside the distance line. I imagine they'll both be plus 200. We'll just take a look. I mean, Roundtree, whoa, minus like 130, minus 110. Boy, oh boy, and Hill is like plus two something. They really give Roundtree that much better chance to finish Hill. That's a little shocking to me. One thing you can do, by the way, on this slate, if you want to, is it's something I've gotten away from doing, and I'll tell you why I got away from it a little bit. But if you like Jamal Hill here, you may as well just like leave the 600 on the table, I guess, and just kind of sort of trick the optimizers into finding those lineups to pair them with Roundtree. It's a weird, again, pricing trick that I that's I developed that I just kind of like figured out. But the downside to that is that if you are going to leave the 600 on the table, you gotta think about what that's going to do the rest of your lineups. You know, like if you pick a lineup, say that has Hill, it has Roundtree in it, and then you drop to Hill and don't make any other changes. Remember the reason why you were able to get to Hill if you saved 600 was that there's 600 you could spend elsewhere. So, like for example, what if this particular lineup had, say, I don't know, um, whoever it is, some $8,800 fighter that now you will now will have the option to go up to one of those 92, 9300s if you save the 600, and if you opt not to do that, you're really you're asking for trouble. But as we've seen, I mean, there's not that many like super elite plays. Sadikov looks good. Um, I mean, who else? Blaze looks decent enough. And this oral buy fight, I think I think the oral bull fight is the main one that you have to target here. Um, so if we were going to hand build, for example, if you did something like, I do think Masaib is the best underdog this week. And then you played, say, Kuniev. I mean, then you can do whatever you want. Okay. But overall, those are my opinions. I think that Blade's probably the best 9K and up, even better than the main event. Well, is he better than Sadikov? I guess that's pretty similar. I like both of them more than Ulan, although Ulan is not bad. And I do like Oroblai better. Do I like him better than Aliascarov? I guess I shouldn't. They look very similar. But okay. We will be back on Friday to do a lineup construction video where we literally just try to win the 100,000 or the 200,000, whatever it is, by using all the techniques at our disposal. We'll be less concentrating on who the best plays are and more on how to actually play them. Until then, this is Sheets. Good luck, everybody.